Algebra 1, Section 8.1, we are dealing with multiplication properties of exponents. So we're dealing with powers. And with powers, there's certain rules when you're combining and when you're multiplying and adding. So we're going to go through just the multiplication rules. In the next section, you'll go over more rules. So in this case, we're just going over the multiplication rules, and there's 3 rules you have to realize. Okay? If they have the same base, you see how all the bases, these ones are A's, that means it represents the same number. So if you have an exponent and they're to the power of the same number or the same variable, then what you can do is you can add the exponents together. Okay? The power of power means you have an exponent to a certain power and then parentheses to another power. Well, instead of adding them, you're going to multiply them because it's to the power of a power. Okay? So you end up going the letter or the variable, the number, to the power of the 2 powers combined. Okay? And the last one is power of a product. And that means even if you have 2 different bases, if they're in parentheses share the same power, you can take that power and you can distribute it to each. So this goes from a times b to the power of m to a to the power of m times b to the power of m. Okay? So let's try it. This is y times y to the 3rd times y to the 4th times y to the 5th. Which one does this apply to? The product of powers. When you're multiplying with the same base. The base is the same, which is y. So that means I can take all the powers and I can add that. 3 plus 4 plus 5. So 3 plus 4 is 7. Plus 5 is 12. So y to the 12. Okay? I'm not necessarily solving. I'm just putting it, reducing it, simplifying as a term. Okay? So in this one, it's 5 to the power of 2 to the power of 3. In this case, the power of a power means that I can take 5 and I can multiply the powers, 2 times 3. Okay? This gives me 5 to the 6th power. This one, because it's an actual number, I can actually work it out. 5 to the power of 6 gives me 15,625. So as you can see, you will probably need a calculator for this section. Alright? The next one here, what I can do, one of 2 things. Because these have no variables, I can multiply them together and then go to the power of 2, or I can take the 2, like the power of product, and I can distribute it. I'm going to go ahead and multiply them together, so negative 3 times 4 is negative 12 to the power of 2. Okay? Well, this means it's negative 12 times negative 12, so that gives me a positive 144. Okay? Now, remember, if this is, whenever you have a negative in there, it's a little tricky. If it's an even number, then that means the positives cancel each other out. If it's a negative number, if this is an odd number, then the negative will still stay there. So if this was 12 to the power of 3, my answer would be a negative. Okay? So in this case right here is the power of a product. I'm going to take this 4 and I'm going to distribute it to every one. Okay? If there was a negative here, I would distribute it to even the negative because that negative represents a negative 1. Okay? So to every one. So negative 3 to the power of 4, x to the power of 4, and y to the power of 4. Now I can't do anything with these 2, but I can find out what 3 to the power of 4 is. 81. So 81, x to the 4th, y to the 4th. And that's my answer. Right? So these are the properties we're going to be working with this section, and then we'll add on as the chapter goes. So try page 444, numbers 10 and 12, 444, numbers 10 and 12, and I'll see you in class.